welcome back to another episode of the Squawk podcast, your favorite Pokemon podcast, your favorite Pokemon podcast. On today's episode, we are going to peer into the future of what Japan is playing and what we will be playing in the near future as we near another rotation around the sun. We're also going to talk about the cards that you're not going to be able to play at the European International Championship, among other things, as well as yapping. Ooh, that was a really good intro. I like that. That was good. Good job, Kyle. My name is Kyle Koopa Rios. I am joined by a new guest host this week. We are in the process of rotating guest hosts. George has been a little busy, a little out of touch with Pokemon, and he's mourning the potential loss of his beloved Charizard EX. So we're going to give him some time to heal and focus on that. But I'm joined by one of my favorite people on the internet. It's been a long time coming to get you on a podcast. The second biggest Lugia enjoyer. It's nice being amongst friends, in general, but like someone that like gets you, like that really likes a shitty Pokemon deck. It's my good friend Sailor Sphinx, Sam. Sam, hello. Welcome to the show. How are you?
Rest in peace, Lugia. Gone but never forgotten.
Sometimes I wish I could forget it, but man.
Yeah.
That deck hits. Sam, how are you? Welcome to the show. How are you doing? How are things?
Pretty good. Just getting over having the flu and being snowed in for the past week. So a little stir crazy, but it's the time of year.
How was the snow in your region of undisclosed location, Ohio? Was it as bad as I imagine it was?
I think it wasn't as bad. We got a lot of snow last year, and I feel like that was worse. I feel like this wasn't bad. It's just been super cold. So last year it was like, at least 20 degrees the whole time. It's been in the negatives the past couple days, so that hasn't been the greatest. So I feel like just from that aspect it was bad, but the snow, not as much as I was picturing, but it was still enough to be like, oh no, what are we going to do?
Yeah, it sucks. It was also equally as bad over here in New Jersey. I think a lot of weather places were like, reporting as this is one of the worst snowstorms we've had in a long time. They were kidding. There is mounds of snow outside my apartment. I
have seen pictures.
Oh, it's terrible. It's terrible. Shout out friend and maybe sometimes enemy of the show, Anthony. Love that guy. But yeah, Anthony and I live like a town across from each other in New Jersey, and I'm sure he's dealing with the same amount of bullshit that I am. It's terrible. Just for context, so I live in suburbia. I live in the suburbs, and the street that I live on is like already a little too narrow for two-way traffic, and yet it is two-way traffic. So like when you compound the fact that there is mounds of snow in the middle of the road, nobody knows how to drive. The roads are so narrow. I'm constantly afraid somebody's going to hit me or I'm going to hit a snowbank and wail off. It sucks. It's pretty bad right now, but I think it'll be fine. If this is like the one big snow we get, I'll be fine with this, but like it's terrible. I am not jiving with this cold right now.
I'm convinced the snow is just going to hang out until like May, and it's just not going to go away because of how high they have it all piled here. I'm like, this stuff isn't going anywhere.
Yeah, it's pretty terrible. My favorite thing that I witnessed in the snow is that like, a lot of people had to dig their cars out to where there's just like giant gaping holes like in the side of the road where like a car could fit. And I watched somebody like completely eat shit trying to parallel park their car in one of these snowbanks. And it was really, really fucking funny. Like I could see them trying to make it work. And I'm just sitting back just like, man, it's not going to work. And just like to watch someone just like really try to like watching. I got so much secondhand embarrassment. Trying to watch someone parallel park is really one of the hardest things you can watch.
That's my favorite thing with my job because we like are where like my salon is and like you can parallel park and stuff, and just watching people do it, especially now because like half the spots are just covered with snow and people try going over the snow and they have a car that's definitely not meant for it, and you just sit there and watch them struggle with it. It's the best.
Guess I'll die. Anyway, before we get into the crux of today's episode, I always love to give like first time guests a little bit of a runway to talk about their history with competitive Pokemon. So Sam, if you could share with the class what got you into playing the Pokemon trading card game specifically, and like some of your experiences. How long you've been doing it, what else you do alongside playing. Some of your what you like about the community. Tell us a little bit about what you like about the Pokemon TCG.
So started playing competitively back in 2021. I was obviously out of work because of COVID, and I needed something to get me out of the house and socializing with people. My ex at the time was playing Magic, so I went along with him. With he was like playing Commander with people, and I saw all the Pokemon product, which was shocking because at that time we were kind of going through the whole what we're going through now with product. And I was
Yeah.
like, you know what? I haven't opened anything in a while. And I got a couple packs. I kept opening stuff and I'm like, well, what am I going to do with all these cards now? Saw that that shop was doing like unsanctioned locals just because of the pandemic and everything and started going. And then I absolutely fell in love with the game. Went to my first regional in 2022. It was Secaucus. And
Shout
then
out New
I went
Jersey.
to,
Yeah. New
yeah, that
Jersey
was my first.
mentioned. Let's
That
go.
was the weirdest convention center, by the way.
No, it's strange. It's very strange.
The strangest part of it, like I think there was only over 600 people at that regional overall
Yeah.
compared to what we have now. It was crazy. And then after that, I was like, wow, I really like going and traveling to play this game. So I've been like doing a lot of the regionals and ICs and stuff since.
I love that. That's awesome. I'm so mad that like I tapped into Pokemon like right after Secaucus was a thing. Cause like I will never get a regional that close to my house ever again. The game has grown exponentially, and that convention center on its own is just way too tiny. Like compared to where the game is, like you have to go to like look at the convention centers that you're going to. You're going to major
Oh, yeah.
cities. Like Pokemon has outgrown Atlantic City and Secaucus and Hartford, which sucks for like the East Coasters. The
Yeah,
fact
I think
it's
that's like
terrible.
my one complaint, especially because it's like I used to be more East Coast, so it was kind of like, oh, that's why I didn't really do much that year. But now living where I am now, I feel like I'm so central and could kind of do more. But I definitely see the pain in the butt of like East Coast because it's like, well, what do I do? I feel like there's normally only like one there a year. I Because what they didn't do Baltimore or anything this season. It was
They did
Pittsburgh
not.
instead.
Yeah, it was Pittsburgh instead, which is they also pivoted from doing that last year because they didn't do Pittsburgh last year. They instead did Baltimore. So we've gotten like one northeastern hemisphere regional season. I'm Ariel. She's tapping in from work. Shout out my goat.
Yay!
Yeah, we're never gonna get that lucky again. I feel bad because there's like a kid that goes to our card shop and he was like, oh, like what's like the nearest like regional like the eastern hemisphere on like the east coast, and we're just like Orlando, and it's like
Literally.
yeah, like that's not close, and it's also on a major holiday weekend, so those flights are gonna be like annoyingly expensive.
Yeah, that's the one thing I'm not looking forward to, but I'm like, it's also, I never get to go to Orlando, so might as well try if I end up
Also,
going.
I like recently looked up the flights. It's like, comparatively to like a flight to Florida, you can usually get round trip for like maybe around $100.
Yeah,
It's like a little close to, it's like $200, $300, which like for a flight really isn't that bad.
isn't terrible, but for like the location, it's like, oh, I'm gonna pay that much to go to Orlando.
Yeah. What a life we've chosen to live. But yeah, it's a shame, that the East Coast, is does feel slightly shafted. But also, a famous fan once said that if you want to excel in a Pokemon trading card game, live in the Midwest. And it sounds like that you are also,
Literally, it's
yeah,
great.
it sounds like you're also confirming that like all of the really good regionals are within like a decent distance from you. So as long as you live within like near a major airport, I'm sure it's really not that hard to get to most of these things.
It's not, and I feel like most of the regionals, aside from like obviously West Coast ones, I've driven to, and it's normally at least like an eight, like at most, I'm driving like 8 or 9 hours. So normally, like, it just make the drive for that, which is super nice.
What's the longest amount of time you spent in a car to drive to something?
The past two NAICs down in New Orleans, we drove instead of flew. Because I didn't want to deal with having because there was no like direct flight, and I get super bad anxiety with layovers, especially because half the like they were either in Atlanta, so I was like I don't want to deal with that, or they were like under an hour, so we were like a 12-hour road trip. Ended up working out, especially this past IC, because if I remember correctly, a bunch of my locals who flew ended up having super delayed flights and didn't get back here until like Tuesday as opposed to Monday because of weather and stuff. So it ended up like kind of working out because it was like, oh, at least we were able to get home when we wanted to.
High key, 12 hours really isn't that bad in a car.
It's not, and it's normally it was the year before it was just me and another person. Then this past one, there was three of us in the car, so it was at least like a little bit more entertaining. Gets a
Yeah.
little annoying once you hit like once we like entered like Louisiana, it gets a little annoying because you're just like, I need out of this car now. But aside from that, it's fine.
Are you doing that drive straight, or are you stopping somewhere along the way?
Both times we'd stop for like an hour and two and kind of just hang out, and then we'd keep going.
I love that. I once when I think I've told the story before, but it's just great. I drove to a Smash tournament in Michigan with my friends. We left at 12 o'clock midnight on like a Monday, and we got there at like noon, like 12:30 the next day, because we just drove 12 hours straight through like a pretty shitty winter. Shout out my friend who took an Adderall and drove 10 of the 12 hours. That shit was nuts. But yeah, road trips are fun. Everybody should, I think it's a rite of passage. You should go on a long road trip like once in your life just to experience it because it's great.
Especially just like everyone having a bunch of trading cards in the back. It's kind of just like, well, if we get bored or if we break down somewhere, at least we have something to do.
Yeah, exactly. At least you have something to entertain yourself. It's fun. I think when when NAIC was in Columbus, I also drove, and I was like 8 hours into Ohio. That was
I
great.
miss that so much because it's only like an hour and a half drive for me, maybe 2 hours. And then as soon as I moved, they were like, "Oh, just kidding. We're gonna put it way farther now." And I was like, "Oh,
Yeah,
darn."
I love New Orleans as a city. I think New Orleans is a great city. It's like people, I see people kind of bashing the location a little bit, but the city is great. It's a great food city. It's a great like activity city.
Oh, I
It's where
love it.
those things- It's awesome. It's great. But I will say the convenience of Columbus, Ohio, of just driving straight on the same highway for 8 hours is great. And comparatively to other places that I've been, in terms of like major cities, Columbus, Ohio is really not that bad of a city. It's a,
It's not terrible. I definitely like it's not my favorite like Ohio city, but for like that type of event, I thought it was great. I loved the convention center. I think my only complaint from like the 2 years I went to it there was like trying to find either like stuff to do and then food because I feel like both weekends that they had it there, there was always like other major. I mean, it happens every year with whatever event, but I feel like there was always like other major events going on. So like if you wanted to go get food or whatever, it was always kind of like a pain in the butt. And then I was just more so like finding stuff to do after, especially like after Saturday night when everyone's obviously not going to be playing Sunday. It's like, well, there's nothing here. What do we do?
yeah, I'd say like your mileage really varies. We're just like, both like New Orleans is obviously like, very famous as a party city. But there's also like a lot of other stuff to do. There's a lot of culture. There's a lot of history. I think Marielle, like while I was like fighting for my life playing Pokemon on day one, she went on a swamp tour. She got a tattoo. She was living her best life.
Oh,
And I'm
love
just
that.
and I'm just like I'm trying to find fan rotom. Like I'm just fighting for my fucking life. Like
Literally.
yeah. So like stressing out and like I feel like specifically in Columbus because like Columbus is like a sports city. It's also a college town. So like I feel like your mileage really varies of like, hey, do you like watching Major League Soccer and do you like drinking at bars? Because I feel like
Literally.
like it's either that's kind of like the extent of like what you're able to do out there. We somehow found like a Chinese buffet the one year that we went out there. It was crazy. I don't understand how we did that. But it was fun. I also the one year I went, it was really fucking hot that weekend. It was the last year I was there in 23, but my God, I
Oh yeah, it was like beginning of July or something. They did it like later than they normally did. I remember that because it was like right after I moved.
yeah, I was just like, oh, it is like the irony. I understand the irony in that because like Louisiana humidity is no joke. It's always a swamp. Like no, no pun intended. It's a swamp out there. But like something about the humidity in Ohio just like hit a little bit different. But that being said, I am excited to potentially go back to New Orleans this year. We'll see what happens. But
So excited.
it's gonna be great. I'm going on a swamp tour this year for sure. But anyway, let's get into the topics of the day or the week. In the last episode, we talked about Toronto. You did not go to Toronto, if I'm correct.
I did not. Anthony and I went to a like I want to say it was a concert, but it kind of felt more like a music festival because it like started at 2 and went until like 10 or 11 that night. So we went and did that instead. And I also don't have my passport renewed, so even if I wanted to go to Toronto, I was not going to be able to.
So yeah, how was your weekend in Pittsburgh? I heard it was quite the experience.
Very fun. I felt so bad for Anthony. He ended up getting in a little later than he wanted because, in typical Pittsburgh fashion, on one of the major highways he had to take, he was like, "Yeah, I'm 20 minutes away." And I was like, "Okay, cool." And then he was like, "Oh, a car in front of me caught on fire and there was an accident. So I'm in standstill traffic right now." So this poor man was fighting for his life. And then when we were going to our hotel, it started snowing. Roads were completely covered. It was great. I was like, this I know he just wants to go and like lay down, and at the like universe is just like, no, we're gonna make this an adventure. But other than that, it was a lot of fun. It was nice. It's always nice being able to like hang out with my friends back there, see my family and stuff. So
Yeah,
aside from those obstacles, it was fun.
definitely beats once again fighting for your life in a regional. Depends. It's not the same since Lugia rotated, so it hurts. But we talked a little bit about Pittsburgh. We also spent a decent amount of time talking about rotation and some other stuff. But the big topic that was coming up in everyone's mind is that okay, EUIC is in a couple weeks. Historically, EUIC as the last 2 seasons has been the rotation regional. This time around, it doesn't work out that way. Or assuming, whatever the rotation tournament is. I know it's not regional, technically speaking. Don't come for my throat, nerds. But, usually EUIC coincides with rotation. This time around, it does not. But we got the announcement that something that I didn't think that the Pokemon Company would do. They're with the release of Ascended Heroes being asked, the Pokemon Company released a statement, which I have up on your screen if you're watching at home on YouTube. But if you're listening to us on Spotify, the gist of it is that originally Ascended Heroes was supposed to be legal for the weekend of EUIC, and due to product shortages, they are delaying the legality of the set until March 6th. So we go from having a tournament series, the next couple tournaments, EUIC and Seattle, being in the Ascended Heroes format, to being stuck playing the same format we've been playing for a long time. So, Sam, I know you were going to Seattle.
Yes.
How do you feel about this? From do you think this is the right call? Like, because I know Pokemon has been very like hum and ho about doing this in the past. So, as a competitor, how does this make you feel?
So I'm not sure how I know at least like US like North America wise, especially with these little mini sets, trying to get product is a pain in the butt right now. I know it's going to be a pain in the butt with this. And on top of that, especially like if I was going to EUIC and on top of these delays, on top of, TCG player not being reliable, trying to get singles is kind of a pain in the butt. I think it's a right call just because of the stress of trying to already get everything for these major tournaments. I feel like I'm always really lucky, and normally whenever there's like a set release and then like whatever my next event is like the event it's legal for, I feel like I'm always running around crazily trying to get the cards I need because of course whatever I want to play is always, oh hey, you need all these cards for it. So I just feel like for the sake of everyone's stress, especially right now with how product is, I feel like it was the right call. I do see like people's annoyance with like, well, I was testing this deck because these cards were going to be legal, but now I gotta go back to the drawing board. And it's like, so I see the frustration with that, but at the same time, I'm like, I feel like those same people who are annoyed that it got moved, if it didn't get moved, they would also be annoyed. So I feel like it's just kind of like no one's gonna be happy with it, but I feel like it was the right call.
Yeah, I'm sort of in the same boat. I'm not going to either of these tournaments, so I have no horse in this race, like competitively speaking. But like you said, I do find it annoying where there was going to be a lose-lose no matter what they did. If they decided to be like, oh, hey, we're still keeping it legal, you guys got to figure this out. People would have complained about it. People would have spent $20 on Pokepads or like whatever the new cards they need to get. And then everybody would have been, the angry mob about it. But I do think obviously you're going to run into some problems here where people are going to complain about the testing they've been doing. But if we're being honest, only a handful of decks are affected by this, and I don't think
Exactly.
I think it's more so people are annoyed that they're going to be playing in the same format, for another month, which I understand.
And it's like I get the annoyance, but I'm like, does everyone remember when Silver Tempest format went for how long? Like we've gone through this before. It's annoying, but it's kind of like, I don't know. We've gone through it before. We all got through it. Complaining isn't going to do anything.
And even when it's been stale, it's never been Silver Tempest format stale.
Exactly.
Like that format, again, I love Lugia, but Broken Lugia, it was so brainless. Like the matches were just, it really was not fun to play in. And if you try to play anything whimsical, you would just get shit on by the other two or three decks that are popular in the room also. Like, it wasn't fun. And even in the Stales format since then, they have not been that bad. So, I think it's annoying. This kind of reminds me a lot of like what happened when Shrouded Fables came out for Worlds a couple years ago. And they like delayed the ETBs. Similar situation. It was a special set, so it's like, am I going to be able to get my hands on this stuff?
Every special set.
It's always a special set.
I don't know if it happened with Prismatic though. I can't remember.
I don't know,
but I don't think there was any like tournaments or anything really going on with that.
I think the biggest card at least the biggest card out of like Prismatic, like at the time, was just Badoo. So I mean, like I think the problem you'd run into is like, oh yeah, like the scalper guys are like not going to want to keep this card anyway. So I think you're going to be able to get your hands on that pretty easily. I asked, it's funny when like I needed to get my hands on Badoos for both myself and like my friends that were like, I think they were going to some tournament that weekend. But there's a couple of guys at my job that I know that collect, and they like ripped a bunch of Prismatic, and I texted them both pictures. I'm like, do you guys have any copies of these? Because I need these. And you're like, why do you need that card? And I was like, I don't have the time to explain this to you. You just have to trust me on this. I need to get my hands on this guy. But it's frustrating, to say the least. I understand people's frustration. I understand most of it. I don't understand the people that are just like, oh man, like, they're pulling a fast one on us. I feel like my entire testing process has just been uplifted. No, it hasn't. I think some people need a little. We
know you were playing Gardevoir. You don't have to try acting like you weren't. We know.
Yeah, like the people that were playing Zoroark are still gonna play Zoroark. You're gonna be fine.
Exactly.
it's gonna be fine. But yeah, I think it was the right choice. I do think, at least from like a spectator side, it's gonna make maybe the tournament like a little bit less interesting to watch, just because you're not gonna see the stuff that people were innovating or thinking of innovating. Yeah. But at the same time, it's like most of these cards I feel like aren't really going to get a chance to flex their legs until after rotation anyway. So it's exciting stuff. But I think that's a great segue into talking about rotation a little bit. Sam, you're now going through like, what is this, like your 4th or 5th rotation into Pokemon TCG?
Something like that, yeah.
Something like that. Are you? How are you feeling going into this upcoming rotation than you have in rotations past? Because we both lost a loved one last rotation. It was terrible. It hurt.
I lost 2 loved ones last rotation. Or was it 2? Yeah. No. I lost my big loved one, I think the rotation before. I'm so sorry, everyone. I was a big new VMAX player.
Yeah! Yeah! Yeah!
But I feel like I feel like I'm indifferent with this rotation. I feel like there's nothing I'm really attached to. I mean, there's like some staple cards that's going to be kind of annoying. Like, okay, we're losing Nest Ball. Are we going to get anything that's going to kind of replace it? Are we going to get anything that's going to replace Iono or anything similar to it? So it's just more of the wondering of like, what's going to happen with everything. So it's just more of I'm just very indifferent.
Yeah, that's kind of where my head's at too. Like, I also love Mew, but like, I didn't love Mew nearly as much as I love Lugia, and that was like, I tried to convince myself at the end of like whatever that format was that like, oh, I'm gonna be a Regidrago player. I couldn't do it. I tried. It was terrible. I can't hide who I am. I'm a one-trick pony. I love opening like Lugia 6 energies in a research and having to complain about it.
Yes.
It was my favorite thing. Lugia hands, like bricking with Lugia felt just a little bit better than it did with other cards, but. Because
you could just blame your loss on bricking. That was literally
yes.
All energy, it's not my fault.
Dodge accountability, gaslight the deck. It is never my fault.
Exactly. Those are my favorite decks. That's why I play Eevee Box, because same thing. And I just get to
Exactly.
be like, you know what? Or, oh no, I prized all my Eevee. I can't do anything. Oops, not my fault.
Oops, I prized my 3 very specific one of cards, and I can't do anything about
Exactly.
it. I think I played. It's funny. I think I was playing against Anthony, and he was playing Hydreigon, and I was playing Eevee, and I prized. I think I had like one Eevee in play, and I prized my other Eevee and my Leafeon, and I was like,
Oh
"Oh,
no.
cool! I'm just gonna die. I guess it's fine." But yeah, I love being able to dodge accountability and make it the deck's fault and not mine.
Exactly.
But yeah, I'm in the same boat this coming rotation. The decks that are going out are not decks that like I really like felt any sort of way about. I never really played a lot of Charizard. I forced myself to enjoy Gardevoir just because everybody at my locals were playing decks that like shat on the decks that I wanted to play. Because I like playing Golden Go. Golden Go's gonna suck. I've been playing Golden Go since like that deck was like shitty and weird.
I love Golden to Go because I just hit it for weakness and it's fun and it's great. So I'm gonna be sad about that.
That I'm not gonna miss. That was terrible. Briar, nah, I'm good, bro. But I'm gonna miss those cards. I am excited to kind of see, like I said, some of these other cards get a chance to like breathe a little bit, and we're gonna take a look at some interesting stuff coming up in the next format. But yeah, I do think it's going to be interesting to see, like, what are they going to do about Iono? What are they going to do about, what's going to replace Arvin? Obviously there's still like a whole set of cards after the, after our March set that we're going to have to worry about at some point. Because judging by what we're seeing in like, usually the first set after rotation is like really never anything special anyway. It's usually
Yeah.
it's usually that subsequent set. Like, I remember one of my friends brought this up to me. I think it was on last week's episode. But like, do you remember when you had to play like Miriam as your like Pokemon recovery and like your energy recovery? Like, because like Ordinary Rod rotated and like we didn't get
I
Super
don't
Rod back.
I don't think any decks I was playing because I think I was playing Lugia at that point. So I don't
Yeah.
think I had to deal with that, but I remember hearing like talks of it because I think I made sure I had like a play set of them just in case I needed it for anything.
Yeah. Shout out to the SIR when that card was like $300.
It's like $30 now. I
Yeah.
have it. I pulled it out of like one of my friend's packs. He was like, "Here, you can have this," and I was like, "Okay, cool." And then I opened it, and I was like, "Oh, sick! I'm not
Yeah.
selling this. I wanted it, but
It's like a tank of gas card now, which is still, in this economy, you can't scoff at that. Um,
oh, I love it. It's great. I hope that happens to every major card that people are buying."
yeah, I'm so soaked for it. But yeah, I think I think whatever we get after the perfect order set, I think whatever our base set's going to be is probably going to be something a little bit more impactful. But in the meantime, we can at least be excited about some stuff coming up. And shout out to friend of the show, Mr. Omnipoke, Mr. Omni Joe. He decided to make a list of City League tournaments happening in Japan. For those of you who are uninclined, City Leagues are basically league cups in Japan. So this is basically the only real testing data we're going to have for these new cards. So kind of taking a quick look at this little chart here. Sam, does anything stand out to you? Or is there anything you're excited about in post rotation? Is there anything that like is you're excited to try, or anything new coming out that's exciting to you?
That's what I was trying to figure out because I feel like that's my issue right now is I know there was I think before like a lot of the city leagues kind of started was okay, what's going to be kind of good and I know there were some murmurs that like Eevee Box was going to be really good post rotation. So I was kind of going in with like okay, I'm just going to keep playing this. But now like seeing a lot of the like city league results and seeing how it's been doing, I'm like, well, I should probably find something else I kind of want to play just in the event that everything kind of carries over just because I know sometimes city leagues kind of end up differing from our meta, obviously, for,
Yeah.
best of one versus best of three. So it just depends what does well. I'm probably gonna hate myself and go back to Dragapult, if anything. I don't mind the
Jeez.
deck. It just gets annoying when you have to play the mirror and your head hurts after it because of all the math. Um, Alakazam definitely has my interest. It's had my interest since Anthony started playing it and just seeing everything with it, and he really wants me to start playing it.
Our
So that'll
rogue deck
probably be.
king for sure. He loves himself a rogue deck.
Oh, yes, he does.
Those are definitely some interesting things. And Dragapult itself looks like so different than what than like what I think the masses were expecting it to be. Just kind of I'm pulling up some pictures right now, but yeah, for the most part, like some of these City League decks like look pretty standard. Like obviously you're playing Meowth, some decks are playing Shaman, Pokepad kind of slides in here, but like you're seeing cards like Drayden, you're seeing
Yeah.
cards like Judge come back into the fray here. This deck
I
definitely
feel like
looks a
that
lot different.
happens to Dragapult every rotation because I know like Dragapult pre like last rotation played very differently. So it's kind of cool seeing how that deck evolves for it as opposed to like I mean I guess it happened with Gardevoir too, but I feel like Gardevoir has stayed pretty like linear like for the most part like oh you get a new attacker that's it. But I feel like Dragapult like a lot of the gameplay aspects kind of changed with it as like each rotation has happened that it's been legal for.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting. This is some other like technology that people are playing. The Team Rocket's Crobat is interesting work. You know, you're really kind of stretching thin of like, you know, what is good, but the core of the deck still stays the same. So I'm not expecting. Obviously, there's no surprise that it's kind of starting to pick back up in City League numbers, and I think everybody was expecting this deck to continue to be good till the end of its lifetime. It's a little too like much of a thinking deck for me. I love to turn my brain off and just do stuff. Which is why I myself am excited about trying some of these more aggressive archetypes. One that I'm really excited about trying, and I have a photo of one right here, is my goat, Mega Lucario.
That deck is scary.
Yeah,
I've had a couple locals play it, and especially like playing a deck where I have a lot of Pokemon weak to fighting. That's a very scary deck, especially right now. And I'm very anxious to see what happens to it post rotation too.
yeah, I agree. I think this like if you could play this deck now, obviously, but the main problem you're always going to run into is that have fun beating Gardevoir, you know, when it's the most popular deck
Literally.
in the room. You know, you just fold to you fold to that, but everything else, you know, you do pretty good against. But yeah, I do think this deck is really good. It's super self-sufficient. You have room to play, like you don't have to play cards like like boss or counter catcher, even though you can in these lists because you have the Heapo catcher. You have tiny guys that can offset your big guy. It's just really good. I think that I'm a huge fan of this card. You know, I think it's cool that Lucario is like good. If there's a type that benefits from rotation, it's definitely fighting. You know, psychic type decks are definitely not going to be as popular.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited to try this. And also you get to play the Power Raids. The Power Raids are really cool.
I saw someone share it on Twitter. There was a Mega Charizard with Flareon and Jolteon deck, so it's like a Mega Charizard Eevee deck. I guess it did good at one of the Champions Leagues, so
Oh
I'm
my
probably gonna
goodness.
build that to mess around with because I'm like, oh, this just seems so dumb.
That
And then
seems
there was a
very silly.
Dragapult Hydreigon deck. Definitely gonna build that for obvious reasons.
For obvious reasons. Hydreigon's sick.
Oh yeah,
That deck's hella
turn to
cool.
Obsidian, love it.
The stuff of dreams. I'm so mad I didn't go to a local where you got to turn to Obsidian. That
It's
truly upset me.
so fun.
The one day I decided not to go, I was like, dang it, terrible. I will. You brought it up a little bit, but I think there's one winner from rotation. It's single prize decks. I think with the lack of
Yes.
Iono and counter catcher and like the opportunity for big, like for like big combo turns where you can board wipe your opponent. Albeit some decks can still do that. I think single prize decks benefit the most from that. You know, Judge Shuffle Draw 4 is not nearly as effective as like Shuffle, Draw 1 or like draw whatever off your prizes is. And if there's one deck that I'm really excited to try, it's this gorgeous baby right here. I am so stoked on Team Rocket's Honchkrow. I am so excited to try this deck. I think the Rockets archetype in general is an archetype that I think gets a lot better post rotation. And I think this is legit. I think this is legitimately like good like single prize deck. I'm really excited to try this.
I think it's cool that that's going to start getting some love just because I feel like that was whenever, like, what was it? It came, like, Destined Rivals Journey Together and all that. I feel like that was one of the, like, trainer types that was so focused on and just nothing with it worked for the time being. So seeing something work with it, I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I said this on last week's episode. I truly felt that like the owners Pokemon, they for a while and even still, they still kind of feel like a huge like waste of potential Like,
Oh yeah, 100%.
I was like, we're really only going to get this one set of trainers Pokemon. Like, that feels like such a massive waste of everyone's time. And then Ascended Heroes came out and they gave us a little bit more. So,
Especially like for Worlds, they highlighted it so much. I was like, oh, this is so cool, but I feel like they kind of did that because of like nostalgia bait with like, what was it? Whatever the like older sets were from like 20 years
yeah.
ago or whatever,
Gym
where they did like
Heroes.
the gym leader Pokemon. I think they just focused on it for like nostalgia bait aspect, which obviously it worked because trying to get stuff in Best in Rivals was also a pain in the butt, but
Yeah. And, like, not even just that. Like, the nostalgia bait's one thing, but, like, the way some of the nostalgia bait was just bad. Like, the art, like, the
yeah.
Arvin's, like, who's asking for Arvin's Pokemon? All those cards suck. Those cards are terrible. Like,
Marnie's was good though. So
yeah.
there was at least like one good. I mean, I don't know if Grimmsnarl's still. I feel like I don't see.
I think it
much
gets better.
anymore, but like at
I
least.
definitely improves. Like, I still think that deck is I think spread decks are going to be pretty good in rotation also. But, like, Marnie's Grimmsnarl, sure. But, like, Iono's stuff was not great. Lily's
Yeah.
is really just carried by Clefairy. Misty doesn't even have an EX Pokemon in her Pokemon, and she is like, if you're talking nostalgia, like, who doesn't love
Yeah.
Misty? So it's like, I feel like there's like, they definitely gave a lot in certain places, but not gave as much in other places, which I think is frustrating.
Yeah.
But that being said, they did try to course correct a little bit. We got End Zekrom, so End Zoroark becomes a much different type of deck moving forward. But we also have the Team Rocket's Honchkrow, which is really cool. Now, this deck is legal now, so if you wanted to play this now, you can, which is another problem people have, with the set being delayed legally IRL. They're never not going to, like, delay the release on the app, because, like, they don't, I feel like that's a little bit too hard to control that.
Yes.
So I've been playing this deck a lot online, and it is very fun. So I think this deck definitely has some potential to be pretty good. So I think single prize decks in a pretty decent spot. The other single prize deck that I'm excited to try is coming up right here on your screen if you're looking. Festival Lead. Do you have any opinions on Festival Lead?
It's such a weird. I feel like I always and like ever since it's been legal, I always hit it randomly. It's a very. I don't know how I feel about it.
It's certainly an interesting deck. Again, this is another one of those decks where it's just like the power level of everything else was so great that, like, why are you going to waste your time playing something like this? But I think in a format where there's no Judge, where there's no Iono, I think a deck like this inherently comes a lot better. Because also there's no Pidgeot. It's better than
Yes.
Quick Search? Boom Boom Groove. You have to do this multiple times. It's better than one Quick Search, 3 Quick Search. It's crazy. And it's Thwacky. Thwacky's cute, so
Exactly.
he's a little guy.
Yeah,
I'm excited.
I was always a fan of like single prize decks, especially when I started playing. I don't know if you remember Mad Party. If you ever heard anyone talk about that?
Yeah.
Like I really enjoyed that, and I was like, I really hope. I mean, I guess I feel like Lost Box was kind of like a single prize deck to a degree. I know it had like some two prizers in it, whatever. But I always appreciate like a good like single prize. So if they're actually going to end up once our rotation happens, if it ends up staying true that they end up doing well, I'm going to be happy.
Shout out Anthony. He's in the chat right now. My goat. Decided to come on by. Am I your wife, or are you talking about Sam? I don't. Can you please be a little bit more specific, sir? Yeah. I also love a single prize deck. I was really stoked. Like, if I say this all the time, but like if I ever played Pokemon, like back when I was like 15 or 16, I totally would have played a deck like Night March. Like, I love the idea of like a tiny little. I love the idea of like a tiny little Scrimblow deck that like just blows up the bigger stuff. Like, that concept has always been very interesting to me. Whenever I like play retro decks with my friends, it's usually, I usually like to play Night March. Talk about the beautiful green-haired baddie. Oh, so he's not talking about me. Your hair does look great, by the way. The hair
Thank you. I got it. Yes. Shout out to my hairstylist for making me not look like a gremlin. It's great.
And shout out to thank you for subbing, Anthony. Appreciate you, big dog. But yeah, I love decks like that. I was really stoked on United Wings for like 20 minutes, and then I'm like, this deck sucks. It is not
so bad.
Yeah, it's just not nearly as good. Even when they release more Pokemon for it, it still sucks. Also, sidebar rotation. I feel so bad for Dartrix now. All of his United Wings friends are gone. He loses everybody. They're all dead. It stinks. But yeah, I always love the concept of just like, small guys that can do a lot of damage. So I'm very excited to try out like a deck like Festival Lead. Mostly because I don't have to buy any new cards for it. I don't know how, you go about rotation. I'm always trying to buy the least amount of cards possible to build a playable deck. That is, I'm very much looking forward to not having to do that. Alakazam is going to be sick, though. That deck is pretty fun, too. So that's going to be a lot of fun. New special Psychic Energy. You get your guys out. It's going to be fun. I definitely think that's going to be the premier Psychic deck moving forward once we take Gardevoir out to pasture.
Can't wait. I can't wait. I hate that
deck
so much.
Facts. That deck sucks. Sam, we've now reached the Squawk or Seas portion of our show. I'm really excited to get into this with you. For those of you not familiar, Squawk or Seas is a segment of the show where myself, usually with George, this time it's going to be with Sam, we're going to give ourselves this or that questions to discuss. What we just to give our opinions on stuff, because why not? Shout out Molly. Molly's in the chat. What's up, my goat? So I gave you the topic today, Sam, and I think it's mostly topical because everyone's been talking about it on Twitter, and I love piggybacking off of a good trend. Is legendary Pokemon. I think everybody's been very
yes.
I think everybody's been very hyped. I love these I love it when Twitter becomes like early 2000s Facebook. Or like early late 2000s Facebook, where like you just like post stuff about post a picture of yourself, the last sandwich you ate on your phone, and like the last 3 digits of your social security number or something like that.
Yeah.
I love those little trends. So I'm very excited to get your takes on legendary Pokemon, because everybody loves legendary Pokemon. Like, what's not to love about them? So that being said, we'll open a questioning to you first. I want to know. So if you like something, you're going to squawk it. If you don't like something, you're going to seize it. You're going to discard it and draw 6 more cards. That's how the rules work. So, Sam, I'm going to offer up to you your opinions on my favorite legendary Pokemon, Mewtwo. Are you going to squawk or seize Mewtwo?
I'm going to seize Mewtwo because it's a copy of my favorite.
Oh,
I know.
I'm hurt. So I guess you're a Mew fan. So
of course, my little trainer card.
Oh yes. I had my card on my desk at some point, but I think I just put it in my binder, so it exists. Shout out the Sailor Sphinx trading card. I thought it was seized like they go to jail. Yes, we're seizing their assets. We're taking them to prison. All right. So since we're gonna talk about it, I'm gonna squawk Mew, because I agree that Mew is adorable. It's cute. It's pink. It's the great main character in a great movie. I've said this on multiple times on the podcast, but Pokemon the first movie was the first movie I ever saw in movie theaters.
It wasn't the first one I saw in theaters, but it was definitely like big gateway into me getting into Pokemon. So
yeah. That was big for me. We're around the same age, so we might have So we were definitely around like the age for that to be very impressionable. I remember getting the Mew trading card. When you went to go see the show, or went to go see the showing of the movie, it was sick. But yeah, good stuff. Sam, can you give us a legendary to squawk or seize? What are you feeling right now?
Lugia.
I gotta squawk Lugia.
I gotta squawk Lugia too.
It's really funny. So growing up, like I don't know what I'd call this, but whenever a new set of Pokemon games would come out, I'd always play whatever game it came first when you discuss the games. Like Pokemon Gold and Silver, I always got Gold.
Yeah.
Or like Pokemon Ruby and Sapphire, I always got Ruby. So I actually never played Pokemon Silver until I played Pokemon Soul Silver. So, I was always conditioned to be like, oh, yeah, Ho-Oh is cool. It's the fiery bird. It's a cool Pokemon. And then I got into the trading card game, and I found out that Ho-Oh is terrible. That card sucks.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I thought things were
Terrible.
going to change. I thought things were going to change with Ethan's Ho-Oh, and it did not, unfortunately. But Lugia is cool. I love Lugia. I love my big sea chicken. It's so I have so many comforting memories. In fact, I got him sitting right here. He's my little desk buddy. So I love my guy. So, yeah, great deck. Also, when it decided to work, what was I'm trying to think. Do you have any funny like playing Lugia stories that you can think of off the top of your head?
I played Lugia the first regional. It was legal, so Toronto, and it was just all mirror matches. And it got to like halfway through the event. I was like, I can't do this anymore. So it was literally me just sitting there. And then I think what snapped me out of that was I hit a Kyurem VMAX, and I was like, oh my god, that's something else. Thank you.
Finally,
It completely whooped my butt because I think that was, I forget what it did, but there was something with like energy and whatever, and it would do like X amount of damage, and I was like, oh, this just killed me. And then, yeah, playing a bunch of Lugia mirrors, especially at that point, was not fun.
it still never got much more fun. I'm gonna keep it oh, geez, Anthony gifted a bunch of subs to people in the chat. My goat, appreciate you, big guy. That is, I'm gonna give you a big old sloppy kiss the next time I see you. But enjoy your subs, everybody. Appreciate you guys. But yeah, I love one of my favorite Lugia experiences was I played Lugia to Baltimore last time it was legal, and I started 2-0, which is really cool. Usually I historically don't have great starts to regionals. We're not going to talk about what happened to me in Pittsburgh. Still,
Oh, same.
yeah, no, I actually never went. I was just there to eat burgers and hang out. But I was playing Lugia, and I'm at 2-0, and I hit one of like the 3 or 4 Iron Thorns decks at 2-0, and I was like, you gotta be fucking kidding me.
I hit that round 1 at NAIC playing Lugia, and I was like, oh, I can't do anything. Cool. This is fine.
You know what's funny? I originally, the night before, I was playing the Flutter Mane in my deck, but then like somebody talked me out of it. It's like, yo, like, just don't worry about it. Like, you don't win that matchup anyway. Just cut your losses and play another consistency card. And I'm like, yeah, you're right. I'm probably not even gonna hit that. Shocker, I did. So it was a bad day at the office, for sure. Also, that same weekend, I hit a Raging Bolt player. I played like 4 Raging Bolts. It was ass. That matchup is so like nauseating.
Yeah.
It was just so cringe. Like you could have put more. Like you had to. It was not fun. Any deck I enjoy playing, I always hate playing against Raging Bolt, for various reasons. But I was bench locked because my guy decided to play an Erica's Invitation, so I had a Luminion stuck in the active for like a bajillion turns, and I didn't have any Archeops on board to like get my legacy energy and reshuffle it back into the deck. So it's just me and this guy playing chicken with each other for like who's gonna knock out somebody. He's like, I have the Archeops on a discard pile. I know, like I'm not doing anything until you knock me out, bro. So I like manually retreat into like a Chinchino or something. And I'm just like, I'm making you go on odd prizes, bro. Like you have to knock me out here. So then I eventually win the game of chicken because he just gets impatient, and I'm like, all right, I'm just gonna win now. And then game 2, I think he needs to like hit like a lightning energy to like donk me or something like that, and he whiffs. So I'm just like, okay, Raging Bolt sucks.
Oh.
Like, I think he like prized 2 lightning energies. I've never seen somebody get up like more upset at a table before. I felt kind of bad because I was like, damn, bro drew like 9 or 10 cards and he did not hit the energy that he needs. I'm like, sheesh, that sucks. Good deck. Let me see here. Okay, let's talk about. So we did just talk about Mew. Let's talk about our opinions of. This is what I hated about this debate on Twitter is that people were being like, actually, this Pokemon's a mythical Pokemon.
No, it's a legendary. It's fine. I don't care about mythical. It's all.
They write legends about it. It's a legend
Exactly.
for a reason. Come on, folks. What are we doing here, people?
This is for children. They don't know the difference. It is fine. I promise you.
One of my favorite Pokemon, Jenny from the Block, Genesect. We Squawk her season it.
So I like fell out of following Pokemon as closely, probably around like Black and White era, so I'm pretty sure that's when that's from. So I don't have an opinion on it. I feel like I want to squawk it though because it made my favorite deck very playable, so it can stay.
Yeah, I have the same opinion of Genesect, my girl Jenny, for a reason. What I love about the TCG is that it forces me to like talk fondly about Pokemon that I could give two shits about.
Yeah.
Like I didn't get I don't now. I will say, unironically though, I've always liked Archeops before Archeops was broken. I've always really enjoyed the fossil Pokemon. Yeah, like Monkey Dory, Molly brings up a great point in the chat. It's just like Monkey Dory's another Pokemon, so like you have like Pokemon forces me to talk nicely about Monkey Dory, even though I hate that guy. But like a card like Genesect, a card I would have never thought about otherwise. It's a pretty middle of the road like mythical Pokemon. It looks cool, but at the same time, it's like, wait a second. Like, you're telling me this Pokemon can draw how many cards? Like, it's just
Exactly.
It was part of one of the most broken draw engines of all time. It turned Golden Go into like a championship deck, like caliber deck. I think I could only play decks with Genesect in it, so I have to squat Genesect. That's my goat.
Well, the one that has the ability where like you can't use ace specs either. I know that's not played as much, but I know like that was kind of like a cool and was played for a little bit.
The Ace Nullifier Genesect.
Yeah.
I like that card a lot too. Shout out my girl Jennifer. That's she's a homie. It's gonna be a shame when Golden Go rotates and that card's not gonna have nearly as much splashability, but we will. Her full art's gonna look great in my binder. So.
Oh yeah.
All right. Let's each do one more, Sam. What's one more legendary Pokemon you'd like to squawk or seize?
I'm looking. Giratina. Squawk or seize.
I don't feel bad about this one. I'm gonna seize Giratina. I'm not it's just I don't really care for it. I didn't really care for it. I always thought Palkia and Dialga were cooler Pokemon in general, but also on the principle of I hate Lost Tina. I hate playing against that deck. That deck caused me so much anxiety. That was like a deck where like I taught myself to like, okay, I'm gonna try to play a deck out of my comfort zone, and I'm gonna try, to like play a deck that's maybe a little bit higher brow than what I'm used to. And I had no fun. That deck is not fun. I couldn't do it.
Loved that deck so much.
I'm a certified hater. I loved it in Reggie Drago, but nah, I'm seizing it. How do you feel? Give us your thoughts on Giratina.
I remember like when Diamond and Pearl came out, I was like, okay, Space and Time, Dialga and Palkia are cool. And then when they announced Platinum and they were like, oh hey, here's Giratina, basically like God of the Underworld, have fun. I was like, oh cool, I love this guy. Gonna squawk him. Hate playing against him in Legends Arceus. I don't know if you played that at all.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
That boss battle
hate
was
him for
ass.
that, but
No Magusa. Hated that. That's currently where I feel right now with like I'm trying to do like the Zygarde fight in ZA. Spoiler alert, you guys have to catch Zygarde at some point. That boss fight is causing me so much anxiety.
I'm not even there yet and I'm already stressing it.
Y'all, if you guys have any advice for a young boy, help me. I'm fighting for like poor Marielle is like looking at me like so sad. She's like, I wish I could help you. It's just like it's fine. I just need to be. I'll figure this out eventually. That stupid fucking worm is just so annoying. But anyway, so yeah, it's a rough boss fight. This is my last one, and I think this is mostly just like a joke because, actually speaking, this Pokemon is classified as the legendary Pokemon. How about Arcanine? Got any thoughts on Arcanine? Do you like Arcanine? Squawker sees Arcanine.
I'm going to walk it just because it's like just for like nostalgia aspects. It was one of my favorites, and I always hated that like whatever game I would get between like the two versions, it was always the one that wouldn't have Arcanine as the version exclusive. So I was always just longing for it. I was always like, oh, can I get Growlithe and Arcanine? Oh no, I can't. Oh well, guess I'll go kill myself. It's fine.
Guess
So
I'll die.
So when they finally stopped doing that and they're like, oh yeah, you can get it in basically every game now, I was like, yay, I get to have the baby now.
Hell yeah. I'll also Squawk Arcanine. It's a cool Pokemon. I wish they would make it like slightly better in the TCG. There was a period of time where like anytime I'd boot up like TCG Live, like I'd always end up playing against somebody who's playing like the Arcanine EX deck.
Oh my god, I forgot about that.
And I was like, because I was just like, oh my god, why? Like people, like they give you other cards to play with. Play something else. Nobody's talking about losing Arcanine EX. Not enough people are talking about it. What are we gonna do? None of people are talking about Gyarados EX going away either. It's terrible. It's so sad. Somebody's got to get that guy a Limitless page before it's all said and done.
Didn't someone do that for the VMAX? Whenever that was like still in like legal or whatever.
Maybe they did. I have to look into that. I actually don't remember.
I'm pretty sure it was like an arc. It was like an arc box deck thing or whatever. But I'm pretty sure like Gyarados VMAX got a Limitless page. I could be wrong, but I remember it.
Oh no, you're right. Yeah, it was like, oh my god, what was the combination of cards? I think it was in like a lost. Maybe it was in a Lost Box deck or so. Oh, it was in an Arceus deck because you could always put Arceus V-Star with some other Pokemon. I want to say it was Landon Kettler or like one of those guys, like one of those Arceus guys. Hi Samaya, what's going on? Thanks for coming by. Yeah, it was like one of those like weird, like I think it was an Arceus deck because you could just like power it up and like get past the weird energy.
Yeah, I think it had like Slacking V in it too. It was like weird tanky, I don't know, but it was crazy.
Yeah, what a weird Pokemon. I miss that era of just like throwing something in a deck with Arceus V-Star because you can just do it.
Oh, I miss it.
Did you like that deck? Like anytime, that's one of the few archetypes where like whenever I tried to play it, like my brain just broke. Like I couldn't figure it out.
I was big on Arcgudra for a hot minute. I played Gudra like if I wasn't playing Lugia, I was either playing Arcgudra or I was playing Lost Gudra. So I was pretty familiar with like that arc. I tried playing like Arctina. I didn't really like that. I played straight Arceus or whatever whenever like it first came out. I know I did that for a little bit, but yeah, I really missed that archetype. I thought it was a lot of fun.
I liked Arceus with Duraludon, but specifically the one where you can play with...
Oh my god, yeah. I can't believe I didn't mention that. That was like one of my favorites. I went undefeated at locals with it once because I just kept hitting Lugia. It was great.
Specifically Arcdumbreon, because the Umbreon was such a cool card. Like just being able to gust something up was so like satisfying.
Yeah.
Cool deck, cool card, but. Yeah, I think that's going to do it for this week's edition of Squawk or Seas. And I think that's going to do it for this week's episode. So, Sam, first and foremost, thank you so much for joining me. This is a long time coming. We've talked about doing this for a minute. And we finally got to sit down and yap about Pokemon.
And we got to include Lugia in it, too, so...
It's trust me, I'm always going to find a way to... You ever see that, like, the picture of the kid who's, like, the veins popping out of his head? Like, that's me when it comes to, like, talking... That's me when it comes to, like, talking about Lugia V-Star. I love that guy. But yeah, let the people know where they can find you if you feel inclined to do so, and also about like upcoming tournaments you might be going to, this and that. Like, what would you like to direct people to?
So you can find me on good old Twitter at Sailor Sphinx, spelled the same way. No funny characters or anything. And then next tournament, I'm going to be playing Seattle in a couple weeks. Yeah, it's basically like a month away now at this point. Yeah, it's a month away now.
Crazy.
It's going to be crazy.
Very cool. I wish you the best of luck.
Thank you.
Well, and I'm sure I'm talking like as if I'm not going to talk to you between now and then. That's very, we talk all the time. If you guys feel inclined to follow me, I'm at Koopa NJ across platforms. I'm going to try to get this episode out before I inevitably go to the Philippines for 2 weeks. Myself and my fabulous partner Marielle are going to a wedding next week in the Philippines, and we're going to be there for basically 2 weeks. So it's gonna be cool. Content's gonna be slowed down a little bit. So I hope you guys, stick with us for that period of time while we're gone. I purposely didn't upload the podcast with Andrew last week because I'm trying to space everything out, between then. So I'm going to probably release Andrew's episode this coming week, and then I'll release this one next week. So everything's going to be a little discombobulated, but we'll talk about EUIC and all that fun stuff when I get back to the States. But if you guys want to see what I'm doing and all that other stuff, you can follow me on Twitter and or X, the Everything app. And follow us on Squawkcast, all that fun stuff. But yeah, that is all I got for you guys this week. Thank you guys so much for joining us, and we'll see you next week or next time. Goodbye, everybody.